3, 2, 1.
New York, NY. Launch Pod starts now.
Welcome to the New York Launch Pod, the New York Press Club award-winning podcast, high news startups, businesses, and openings in the New York City area. I'm Hal Cooper-Smith, and in this episode, we're going back into the world of boutique fitness as we speak to Helaine Knapp, founder of CityRow. We first spoke to Helaine in 2015 when CityRow was new and fitness studios around New York City and the country just weren't as common. So, more than 3 years later, how has CityRow thrived in a more competitive environment? Here's Helaine.
What we've built in our programming is really smart, and it's backed by science, and that is why we're here, and that's why we continue to kind of take the position that we take as the leader in the rowing category, both in studio and at home.
In this episode, we discuss the world of boutique fitness, what keeps people coming back to CityRow, how Helaine's business is expanding, not just around the country, but also to your home, and a whole lot more. It's all on a show we call How You Doing?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
How you doing? I'm doing good.
I'm doing good. What'd you say?
I'm good.
Hey, you? I'm walking in.
Fantastic. What you say? How you doing?
So you were one of our first guests, episode 5, which I recommend everyone go back and listen to. And it was in 2015. A lot has happened to CityRow. You had one location at the time. Now you have 2 in New York. You're expanding nationally. You have a CityRow at home, CityRow Go. And we're going to talk about all of that. But I want to know how the boutique fitness world has changed since 2015. Because even though 3 or so years doesn't seem that long, it seems like a lot has happened in the boutique fitness world.
You're absolutely right. So first and foremost, thank you for having me back after, I guess almost 3 years. It feels like 10 and also 1 at the same time.
You're always welcome back.
Thank you. I love being here. So in the past 3 years, the boutique fitness space has completely exploded. There is a spin studio on every corner. There are places to do 15 million different kinds of yoga. And CityRow has been part of that boutique fitness explosion. I think for our category specifically, when I was on here back in 2015, we were the only rowing studio. We were the first of our kind. And since I came on, we've seen tons of, call it competition, copycats across the country, which sure might be kind of annoying. I think it's great. It means that there's proof of the category, right? A rising tide lifts all ships. So it's been a really fun category to be a part of. And boutique fitness is just continuing to explode. I'll talk about the at-home market, but it is growing. The trends are going to continue to see it grow, both at home and in studio.
And what does all that additional competition mean for CityRow?
Yeah, so I think that there is a little bit more discerning going on from consumers. They know that there are a million different ways to work out, and so they're starting to evaluate which ones they want to actually invest in and put their body through. And so we're seeing people start to peel back and be like, is this really good for my body? Or is this smart? Is it really fun? Do I love the instructor? And what we've also seen with more and more competition is the bottom kind of falling out. I've seen studios close. Right. So that's also like in a booming category because so many people are also coming into it. Right. This is a passion category. People love fitness in their personal life outside of work. And so they're diving in. It means that some of the people at the bottom just aren't really making it.
And one of the things that's endemic to this boutique fitness world is that you pay for each class. And an entrant that has been a part of the boom is ClassPass. How has that changed the business?
Well, ClassPass itself has changed quite a bit since it first started, and I have been not the biggest fan of them from the beginning because I think that there has been some confusion for the consumer. Where they're at right now, I think is actually where they should be. It is transparent to the consumer what they're getting off-peak times. They can't get into every class, and it's been an interesting all-access pass in a lot of boutique fitness worlds. It's become a standard on some level. Very curious to see how it grows and evolves as more and more competition enters the marketplace and people are starting to think about how they can create their own versions of a ClassPass. So we'll see. But In 3 years, ClassPass itself has seen quite a bit to change.
And for people who don't know ClassPass, you're paying a monthly subscription and you're gaining access to classes.
Yeah. I would say about, 90% of boutique fitness studios are part of ClassPass. And on the studio side, you get to choose which classes and how many spots you want to offer. So for instance, our Union Square location, which is in a very transient urban area, doesn't have showers. Our 12:30 classes have never been super strong. I'm always going to put a handful of ClassPass spots in there. You're never going to see a ClassPass spot in a 6:30 p.m. Tuesday. So it's a value to the studios when it's used properly.
And how has your participation in ClassPass changed over time?
It's a good question. In the beginning, I'm going to be honest, I hated them.
You hated them?
Yeah. This is a company that was owning my consumer in my mind. And they had the relationship with the consumer. And I want the relationship with the consumer. I want to own their journey. I want to be the one to solve their problems. And it created a lot of friction. I still prefer to have the clients direct to us. So on some level, you see them as a competitor. But at the same time, if you look at it as a marketing channel to open up the door to welcome in new people, then I think you can win with them. And it's also a big awareness tool for opening in new markets.
And talk about expansion of the fitness world. You had one location when we first spoke to you. Now you have two in Manhattan. What was it like making that jump from 1 to 2 in New York? What did that mean for you?
Totally different experiences. The first one, 15th floor of an office building in Union Square. I did very little work up front. And it was just, let's see if this thing works. Second one was co-op building. Upper East Side, ground floor, $600K worth of work, and I had to, without permission, cut a 35 square foot hole inside of the building to put a louver. Last minute, like 3 days before opening. So it was insanely stressful from a build-out perspective and also from a marketing perspective. We had a really big audience in Union Square, and we had to figure out how to replicate that on the Upper East Side. So we learned a ton.
Yeah, what are some of the things that you learned?
Local marketing is important. I'll be super honest. I opened the first location just really naive, and I had a great following and awesome PR. I had a great email listserv from about a year's worth of buzz, and we just opened our doors and it just worked. 2 years later, it didn't work that same way. We had to actually go out and market and do partnerships and learn how businesses across the country open a new store. But as we prepare for scale and franchising, if we hadn't gone through that, we would be nowhere.
Well, you beat me to the punch for my next question. You're preparing to scale and franchise across the country. What were some of the things that you learned in New York with the second location that you want to take across the country?
So we learned a ton from the second location. This summer, we also opened a third location in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is our first outside of New York. Learned a ton there. That is actually a prototype store. So part of why we opened in Ann Arbor is that's where our franchising partner is based. And we wanted to open a store that was indicative of what we wanted the future studios to look like. Union Square, like I said, I did nothing. I put $50,000 into that build out. Upper East Side is too big, too expensive, and this one's just right. And so we learned a ton through building out that process. We're now also operating it from 600 miles away. So we're learning how to communicate, what the right hires are, what the right P&L should be, what that local marketing plan should be, and then we're creating the platforms and the programs with our partner on how to teach franchisees.
So you're going across the country, and is it the same demand for boutique fitness in Ann Arbor, in other cities, I don't know, Los Angeles, Austin, Texas, Denver, wherever you're thinking about expanding? I've just named those cities.
Those are great cities.
They're all wonderful cities.
We have about 35 franchises sold to date, and they're across the country. Denver, Portland, Dallas, Chicago, New Jersey, Detroit, LA, San Fran, you name it, we're going to be there. I would say that in some cases, there's more demand because there's less already. There's an Orange Theory in every single town, but unlike New York City, where there are, 700 boutique fitness studios within the 5 boroughs, there might be 3, 4, or 5. And so the franchising model allows us to have a really big footprint really quickly versus corporate store openings. And I'm excited about that because a city like Ann Arbor can support a CityRow. It doesn't have to just be a downtown Chicago or San Fran.
Why can a smaller town or smaller city support a CityRow? So
the future of the CityRow footprint, and not that different than what we have here in New York, is 15 to 20 spots. We're not putting 50 bikes in a room. And so that means a footprint of about 16 to 1,800 square feet. You can fit right in a strip mall, right? The location that we're opening in Dallas is a perfect box in like a Whole Foods anchored location in Allen, Texas. And it means that we can actually put these in more cities versus having, one in each big city.
And you mentioned that you wanted the franchise model because you could grow faster. Why is that a good thing for your business?
So in about 2016, after we opened our second location, I was taking a step back and figuring out where and how I wanted to grow the company, both digitally and from a retail footprint. I had LOIs and letters of intent out for spaces on the Upper West Side, Tribeca, and then I was exploring an opportunity in both Boston and DC, right? Big initiatives from a corporate perspective on how to roll those out. And what I couldn't get over, and what actually drove me to exploring franchising, was how to incentivize a general manager to want to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning when there was a VIP coming in, or who was going to race over there when, a crazy woman throws a brick through the window, which, by the way, happened on the Upper East Side. So I couldn't get over that. And I also know that I quit my fancy job to wear leggings every day. And I just wanted to give people the opportunity to do that as well.
Let's talk about the brick. That's crazy. That was certainly not something I read about or ever heard about.
Well, you're clearly not reading all of my Instagram stories. It was about a year and a half ago. And like an insane woman on the Upper East Side who, like, if you live on the Upper East Side, there's a spitting lady, or at least there used to be. Apparently was just on like some kind of crazy bender, took a brick and threw it through the glass on the Upper East Side.
Was on an anti-rowing crusade.
Yes, at 4:45 in the morning.
Well, just before 5 when you're getting to the studio.
Prime time.
So you have franchised so that you are incentivizing the franchisee to wake up, to open the studio, to cater to those VIPs. How are you selecting the franchisees, and how do you ensure that they choose the right instructors and deliver a consistent class across different cities?
So you and I don't know a whole lot about franchising, but the good thing is that a lot of people out there do. And so I partnered with a company called Franworth out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, who I went to University of Michigan undergrad, so it's on my alma mater, and they're basically franchising ninjas. They've got the CEO's got basically a 10 for 10 win rate. Think Domino's, Krispy Kreme, Ducks, Hoods. Bought Title Boxing Club about 5 years ago, and has grown that and partners with emerging brands very selectively. So they've got 5 brands under the portfolio, and they basically bring the franchising expertise to the table. We bring our marketing PR product to the table, and together we build out the systems and processes of what does auditioning instructors look like? We're going to train them in Ann Arbor. What does that 3-day training look like? And so they're really bringing all that expertise on not only how to find the right franchisees, but how to train the franchisees to find the right instructors. So there's a balance between corporate, franchisee, and processee.
What does that training look like? You're bringing instructors across the country for 3 days, teaching them the CityRow way. What exactly is that?
So we know that what happens in those 50 minutes is magic.
Magic.
It's magic. And the magic is in the programming, but it's also in the delivery. So we've probably spent the most amount of time on this piece of the puzzle, and it involves an audition process that the franchisee goes through in their local market. Here's 20 people that want to audition. Let's whittle them down to 5 or 6. Let's take them through a 2-week pre-training intensive, and then they're going to fly to either Ann Arbor or New York and do 3 days with Annie in person, learning the magic, getting to experience classes from the best of the best. And then they're going to go home and bring that to their local market with continuing education as well.
So someone who wants to audition for CityRow is obviously going to be listening to this podcast. What makes a good CityRow instructor?
You have to be a performer on some level. You don't need to be classically trained, but you have to love being in front of a room and listening to the clients, reading what they're not telling you, and understand the why behind our product. If you know why customers are coming in, you can communicate that in an effective way and they'll come back.
In addition to franchising nationally, you've also launched CityRow Go. Why did you decide to do that? Because you're expanding nationally. Now you want to be in people's homes as well.
We are. So CityRow Go launched on November 8th. It was about the same time I started considering franchising that I knew we had to go at home. You know, Peloton blew open the door in 2016. I saw their early numbers and traction and knew that we had a rabid rower population at home, people that had machines that were coming in being like, I have a machine, I don't know what to do with it. And for years, people across the country have said, can I live stream into your classes? I have a rower at home. We also have a great relationship with our manufacturing partner, WaterRower. And so we started the innovation and R&D process into what a custom CityRow Go machine would look like by WaterRower. And we started building an app with a tech partner called Jacked. They're down here actually in FiDi. And we built an app. We launched it in beta in March exclusively to the WaterRower community. We have, as of, end of November, 1,000 paying users. Some of those came from beta. And we're allowing people to not only buy a new machine and experience a connected experience a la Peloton, but also if you have a rower at home, whether it be a Concept 2 or a WaterRower or any other machine, you can also take classes at home and follow along. So it's a very widespread approach to being able to introduce people to CityRow across the country, welcome them into the family, and also provide, an even more robust national presence for our franchisees.
Well, 1,000 before you even launched is a huge number. How were you able to get all those people? It was exclusively through the WaterRower community?
Basically. So we put up a waitlist block on and add people to sign up for the waitlist. We offered it to the WaterRower community as well to join the waitlist. So we started building that up from about, February, March, and then just added people 100 at a time with a really high retention rate. That was before we even had the Bluetooth connectivity to the app.
So you're looking to grow CityRow Go, and you're looking to grow nationally. Do you worry about the in-person classes around the country competing with in-home or vice versa?
A lot of people would think that. And I think that even some of our closest partners and friends would think that as well. The reality is people work out at home because they cannot physically get to a studio. Because of their calendar, because of location, maybe they have a kid and they can only work out during those hours. In studio is always going to be the optimal experience. If you are looking for group fitness, the energy, the pushing yourself further, you're always going to go into a studio. If you can't do that, or maybe you're just someone who doesn't like group fitness, you like working out at home, maybe you're shy, maybe you're new to a fitness routine, at home is going to work for you. What I am really excited about is that we are not only going to be able to tap into the, 4.4 million people who are rowers, but we're going to tap into the 7.7% of the $81 billion fitness bucket to try CityRow Go. So we're going after not rowers, we're going after fitness buffs. That's a much bigger category. Welcome them into CityRow. When a CityRow opens in their area, you better believe we're going to tell them about it and give them their first class free. So it's more of a national brand lift. And we're going to figure out, actually already have a few different ways of how franchisees are going to benefit from CityRow Go. So Gold Unlimited members will have free access to the app.
4 million rowers in the United States?
People are rowing.
4 million people are rowing in the United States?
And about 1 million have rowers at home.
1 million have rowers at home. So what's the goal for CityRow Go? Obviously, you must have set a goal for getting in people's homes. Do you have that?
We do. I want to capture a chunk of that million. I want to go after people that already have machines. I also want to go after people that have at-home workout experiences and start to target, not necessarily people that already have a Peloton, but people that are looking to make a purchase. This rower takes up a lot less space. It's very efficient what you can do in 20 minutes. It stands up against the wall. And we're already seeing really early, strong traction for purchasing, this is an expensive product. So it's great.
How much does it cost?
It's $13.95 for the machine. And then the subscription is annually
$1,395.
Yes. Annual subscription, $180 or monthly for $19.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about is something that you said during the first episode. And I want to play back this quote.
I really do think that we stand alone in our offering. There's dozens and dozens of boutique fitness studios on every block in Manhattan, and what we bring to the table is truly unique. You're getting cardio, you're getting strength training, and the way that we're delivering it to you is low impact. it's safe, it's smart. There's 1,000 ways to get a good workout, but there are only so many ways to do it that is going to keep your body really safe for today and set it up to be strong for life.
Given that there are a proliferation of rowing classes, there's another at-home rower, there are more people doing at-home online fitness. How does that stay true, what you said?
I love hearing myself talk from 3 years ago, first and foremost. That was great.
What a flashback.
Yeah. Oh, Helaine, 2015. It stands exactly the same. I think I have kind of figured out what I was talking about in 2015 was our secret sauce in our programming. And that what CityRow really is that we're not a rowing studio. We're a smart fitness concept. That's my why. That's why I started CityRow. I needed something that was going to deliver results, be really high intensity, also low impact, and be in a category where everything is really sexy and cool and sleek. But the reason that we win, and we go up head to head all the time against other franchises, is that what we've built in our programming is really smart and it's backed by science. And that is why we're here. And that's why we continue to kind of take the position that we take as the leader in the rowing category, both in studio and at home. We haven't changed our why. When we go at home, there'll be a wide variety of CityRow classes. They will all stay true to our mission of form first, preparing your body to work out, and at the same time, keeping it really fun. So I love that there are other rowers out there. I love that there are other rowing fitness franchises. Again, a rising tide lifts all ships, but we will always be our product first.
And so what are the things that you think about when building out that product, when building out that forward-thinking fitness that you talked about that other people are not doing? And there's big money behind it. You mentioned some of the big names. There are even more. Aaptiv, Peloton, which you mentioned, these other rowing classes, True Rower. What are you doing that they're not?
We are always going to be an interval-based rowing solution. We happen to use rowing because it's the smartest piece of cardio equipment out there, and it's total body. The goal will be to deliver results, be really fun, athletic, exciting, dynamic, and scalable. Our classes are for all fitness levels. That is a really hard and challenging thing to do. Annie, our head of programming master trainer, always says, it is really easy to make something hard. It is very hard to make something challenging. And all CityRow classes are challenging for all fitness levels. So as we continue to evolve the company, both in studio, as you think about what our new classes are going to be over the coming years, as well as at home, we'll always stay true to our mission of form first, product first, protecting your bodies first, and thinking about how we can always get smarter about preparing you to perform, because we sit at desks all day. And so afterwards, before you can go and crush something, you got to prepare your body for it. And it's something that we don't want to do, but we've always figured out how to sneak it in.
So obviously you are getting a lot of wonderful press in terms of what you've built, what you talked about. One of the things that got a lot of national attention, even more than the New York Launch Pod, if that's believable, is the Today Show did a whole big feature about you and CityRow. What was that like? How did that come to be?
I mean, I'm still reveling in that moment. Our PR girl said, Helaine, gotta be honest, I don't know if it gets better than this. And I was like, so then where do we go from here? Believe it or not, it was actually an inbound request. We obviously, I think we have a very strong name across the country as who we are. And myself being a strong New York City-based founder, and this amazing, I would say fellow entrepreneur named Maddie reached out. We totally hit it off. She was putting together a cool series called Meet the Boss, all female entrepreneurs that were featured during a week in March. And I was really lucky enough to be picked as one of them. It was a whirlwind picking the date. It was so nerve-wracking. I don't think I ate for a week because I was so nervous. It was insane. Savannah was one of the coolest people I've ever met. And I totally get why she is at the forefront of Today's Show. She immediately put me at ease, and it was a really easy interview. And I'm going to be honest, I had a lot of fun.
Well, one of the Today Show cast, Al Roker, I think, is a regular at CityRow.
Al Roker, he's great. He loves CityRow. We love him. And his son also is fantastic.
Well, it doesn't get any better than the Today Show, but is there anything else that CityRow fanatics can look forward to?
Yeah, there's a lot on the horizon. We are probably going to launch about 20 studios this year across the country. So first, probably Dallas, Denver, Portland. So be on the lookout in those cities. We opened a retail collective pop-up here in New York at 11 Bond Street as part of the Showfields Collective. So definitely come check us out there and see CityRow Go. And then would love to offer any first-time clients their first class free with the code NYLaunch.
First class free for New York LaunchPod listeners. That
It's a $32 value.
That is phenomenal. That's across the country?
Across the country.
Across the country, everyone. That is a wonderful note to wrap things up on. Helaine Knapp, thank you for stepping back on the New York LaunchPod and sharing your time with us.
Thank you for having me again. I can't wait for number 3.
Can't wait to see what number 3 holds. How do people find out more about you and CityRow?
CityRow.com, or we're just at CityRow on Instagram. I'm just at Helaine Knapp. And check out CityRow Go. Check out a studio near you. And I hope you all try rowing.
And if you want to learn more about the New York LaunchPod, you can follow us on social media at NYLaunchPod and visit nylaunchpod.com for transcripts of every episode, including this one. And if you are a super fan, Helaine, are you a super fan?
Of course.
Of course, Helaine is a super fan, and you are too. All super fans should leave reviews on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. It does help people discover the show, and it is greatly appreciated.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the New York LaunchPod. For more information, please visit nylaunchpod.com.